Hello, my name is Christian Torres. I am one of the new founding members of the American Virtual Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Now, what does that actually mean? Well, we're putting together some committees that are shaped specifically to help business owners just like you. And I'm proud to be the new co-chair of the Business Strategy and Innovation Committee, which means every month we're going to be working together to bring you the educational content, the insights, the learnings, and the resources to help you figure out what's next, what's on the horizon. There are so many shifts in the marketplace right now and disruptions going on every single day. My background is actually in decision intelligence, which means that I help companies make high stakes decisions using data, AI, and decision-making frameworks. And I do that all through my company, Stark Analytics. So I am really, really excited to bring that expertise and knowledge to the Committee for Business Strategy and Innovation and help business owners just like you get the tactical advantage that they need to succeed.
Hi, I'm Jolie Leidner, and I'm a founding member of America's Virtual Chamber of Commerce and Industry. And I'm also the co-chair of the Human Resources and Workforce Development Committee. And we at that committee will guide you with everything educational for HR and recruiting, as I own Jobs by Jolie, a staffing company. And we're here for all your staffing needs, where we staff every industry with a personal touch, and we do temporary, permanent, and temp to perm staffing. And we do it across the country. So I could be reached at 516-521-7602 or jolie@jobsbyjolie.com. Hope to hear from you. Thanks.
Hi, it's Neil Abruzzi, and I'm here to talk to you today about America's Virtual Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I am proud to be the head of the Technology for Business Committee, where through the Commerce we intend to bring usable technology information to the membership, something not far-reaching, but something that you can use in your business, hopefully that very day. I'm 35 years running EDI Options. We're here a company for making connections between retailers and vendors. We provide connectivity services, integration services, data handling services, and all kinds of different commerce consulting. So come on and join us at the America's Virtual Chamber of Commerce. You're going to love it here, and I look forward to working with you going forward.
I'm David Faverio. I'm a founding member of America's Virtual Chamber of Commerce and Industry, other known as AVCCI. I am the chair of the Sustainability Committee. We look to educate people and businesses on how to be more sustainable and how to introduce sustainability into their business to be more efficient in their operations. I'm also the president of Pupfish Sustainability Solutions. Pupfish's data destruction methods are AAA NAID certified through iSigma, which certifies our adherence to the high security and ethical standards in the data destruction industry. We operate on a zero landfill policy, which means nothing winds up in the landfill. Everything's 100% repurposed or recycled back into the U.S. manufacturing stream. And Pupfish received our certified B Corporation status in 2021, and we are proud to be a force for the local and global good.
Welcome to the American Business Podcast. I'm Kevin Devecioglu, your host. I'm welcoming you episode 180. We are in season 6 in the American Business Podcast. Quote of the day. As you know, we have a great partnership with missionstatements.com, and here is the quote of the day. Moral excellence comes about as a result of habit. We become just by doing just acts. Temperate by doing temperate acts. Brave by doing brave acts. Okay, great. Well, we have a great guest in the American Business Podcast. Let's invite our guest to our virtual stage and let's get the conversation started.
Hey, Kevin.
Hello, Timothy. Welcome to the American Business Podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm pleased to be on.
It's a pleasure. I'm glad that you joined us today. I've been waiting for this conversation and looking forward to learning from you and your professional insights. By the way, how are you? How your week has been so far?
Good. So far, so good. It's Friday in late afternoon. How much better can it get, right? Well, it's going real well. Busy at home too, and with work. It's just life's busy, but that's what makes it interesting at the end of the day. So I appreciate you asking.
Absolutely. And where are you connecting out of? Just for our audience to know.
I'm in Melville, Long Island, New York. It's probably like the northern central part of Long Island, I would say. Probably about an hour outside of Manhattan. We have 45 minutes without traffic, but when is there never traffic in New York City? There's always traffic.
That's true. It's a great point.
But
Yes, we love to. Absolutely. We love to talk about where we connect from because the American Business Podcast is a national business podcast, and all of our guests, they connect from different parts of the country. And we also have guests sometimes from Canada and Mexico. And it's great that we welcome all from different locations. So this is really exciting. Well, why don't we get started if that's okay? As a start,
Sure.
Would you please introduce yourself and your organization to our listeners and to our viewers?
Sure. My name is Tim Reiter. I'm a CPA. I'm a tax director for MGO LLP. And we have 13 locations. We have actually 2 in India. We have 11 in the United States. And we perform, in general, the services we perform are accounting and auditing and assurance, tax and consulting. But we also perform many different types of services within those general groups. We serve public companies, private companies, high net worth individuals, governmental agencies. We have over 500 employees. And as I was alluding to before, we have a lot of experts in a lot of different areas and that can help you keep or make your company even more financially healthy, save and defer taxes where you can, or if you just need to make your business better or grow through the various types of consulting services we offer, we can do that as well.
We're also curious about your career journey. How did you get started? How your career journey has unfolded over the years?
Yeah, well, in the beginning, it's the thing, if you're going to go to college, obviously, even if you're not going to go to college, by the time you're about 16 or 17, you have to have a pretty good idea what you're going to do with your life. And, being the typical 16-year-old kid in 11th grade and deciding where to go to college and what I wanted to do, I really wasn't too sure, to be honest. I mean, I wanted to be an actor, but I knew that wasn't realistic. So I just kind of thought, what am I good at? And one of the things I think I'm pretty good at are numbers. And I heard, accountants are good with numbers. So I figured that would be something that my strong point could align with. And my dad was an accountant. So I decided to go into the field. And my career journey actually has been pretty interesting. got off to a really interesting start. I worked for a country club in the accounting department at first, and I was there for 4 years and got to eat, a lot of good food. I got to eat free lunches, country club food, for people that make a lot of money and demand the best. And I was able to eat that food on a daily basis, which was great. It was a good experience as well. Passed the CPA exam while I was there. So I was able to study and pass. And then, but in order to become a CPA, which is what I wanted to be, I needed to work for a public accounting firm. So I got a job with a public accounting firm after 4 years, worked in the city, and I was in the hospitality industry. I guess the fact that I worked at a country club, they thought that my experience there translated nicely to their hospitality industry, which meant I got to audit hotels and restaurants, and really fancy hotels and restaurants that I would normally never eat at or that I would normally never stay in. And I got to travel a lot, and I was single at the time, so it was a lot of fun. I got to travel to St. Thomas, Chicago. I was in Beverly Hills, Miami, Florida, and again, just stayed in great places, and just I audited one hotel that was actually mentioned in a rap song, which so it was a pretty posh place. It was, and again, the rooms are great. I loved it. It was a great perk of the job. And like I said, I was single at the time, so I was able to travel. So that was, there was no interference there, and I didn't have to worry about a family. And that was great. And then, but while I was there, I also did some tax work, and I really enjoyed the tax work more. And I just thought I was a little more passionate about that. So I eventually went into tax, and I've been doing it almost now for 25 years. And my career has evolved from, being a person data entry into a tax return and having someone else look at it, and then someone else above that look at it and sign it, to, me being a signer of most of my returns now. And I've kind of gone from, getting into the specifics and getting into the details on the ground floor to kind of taking more of like a 35,000 foot view, as I like to call it, from the airplane, and just looking at it differently, and just looking at it, how I can serve my clients well and save and defer taxes for them.
What is the secret of your success?
Well, first of all, I appreciate you thinking of me as successful.
Of course.
But yeah, I would say this is an industry where the information to learn is infinite, especially in the tax world. As you know, or you may know, it's constantly changing. There's updates. You could be doing this for 100 years and still not know everything there is to know, because the tax code is just so long, and the regulations behind it and so on. But I've never been afraid to learn new things. I've never been afraid. You have to read. You have to get in. You roll up your sleeves and do tax research and look into laws and how they apply to a certain situation. And you need to read a lot. Whether it's if you have a little bit of downtime and you have to do your continuing professional education, or if you just even read on your own. And I was always never afraid to do it. I was always interested in that. I feel like I have a pretty good work ethic. I feel like I've worked hard where I've had to, and I've always just tried to be an approachable person for the people below me, and I've always just tried to serve my clients the best I could, and I think that's helped me move through the ranks over the years.
Yeah, these are great insights. Well, we love to also learn about the state of your industry. How do you see the trend nowadays? What is changing, evolving in your industry? So this is a CPA firm, there's an accounting firm. These are professional services in a way. If you can tell us a little bit about your industry in general, just for us to educate ourselves, that'd be great.
Sure. The industry, it's not just accounting and taxes. There's consulting as well. Being from the tax side, you have to put your lawyer hat a lot of times, on, and just and do the research and really look into the rules and regulations and understand them and make sure that they're that your taxpayers are abiding by them. But it's also, we try to take a holistic approach as well. You have to worry about the accounting side and the auditing side and making sure the company is, financially healthy, and helping them in many ways that you can do that. We offer that through, mergers and acquisitions if it ever gets to that. We even have a cybersecurity type to our consulting. So it's just, the industry and just in our firm in general, it's not just, accounting and reaching into like a shoebox and picking out receipts. On the tax side, I have to, constantly think of ways to, make sure my clients are filing everywhere they should. We have a tax controversy department that, if you have to deal with the IRS, or if there's any, if you get any penalty letters, or you need to be represented in front of the IRS, we can help you there. Credits and incentives, research and development credits are big. We have to constantly be on the lookout and make sure anything our clients can take advantage of, they're taking advantage of, whether it's even, changing their accounting methods. And it goes above and beyond typing in numbers into a tax return and saying, you're getting a refund or you're not getting a refund. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of things that have to be thought of, and you want to think about it before somebody else does, and really help your clients in any way you can, and through consulting, tax, or accounting.
Well, let's talk about AI a little bit. AI is a popular subject in the American business podcast and the American business podcast community. How do you see the impact of AI on business nowadays, based on your experience and your observation?
Yeah, based on my experience, more from a personal level. I mean, I think AI is great. It's here to stay. Some people aren't comfortable with it, but I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's going to be with us, forever. It kind of reminds me of the web when it first started. People were like, I don't know, and now how can you live life without the World Wide Web, right? Or whatever they're calling it these days. But same thing with AI. I would say AI in my profession, yeah, it can be used to even, prepare tax returns and maybe even review tax returns. It's gotten to that level. But where I deal with it the most is that we do have clients that will go on, a website on the web, and they'll type a tax question, and AI will spit out an answer. And they'll come to me and be like, yeah, I looked this up, and this is what I saw on AI. I saw it on Google or wherever whatever it may be. And unfortunately, we do see that there are a lot of mistakes, and there's no substitute for actually using. We have our own software that uses AI, and you got to really look at the sources that you're getting your information from. I mean, if you're getting it from an article, or it's not going to hold water, especially in our profession. So you got to really make sure it's coming from something called a primary source, which is the Internal Revenue Code, the regulations, revenue procedures, revenue rulings, something along those lines. So you really just want to take it with a grain of salt, and you want to see where they're getting the information from. And, you don't want to just look at the answer they spit out. Because a lot of times we've found that there have been mistakes. And again, we have our own AI programs we use, and they go to primary sources. And again, if I'm going to say, I got the answer, and I'm going to show it to my partner, or you're going to bring it to the IRS to fight your case, or whatever the case may be, you need primary sources, or it's not going to stand up, or people are going to look at you like you have two heads, because it's not coming from a really reliable source at the end of the day. Doesn't mean there's not some good stuff out there on the web. I'm not going to, people write great articles, people write great things, but if you're not going to the source, if you're not going to the primary sources, then you really can't rely on it at the end of the day.
Let's talk about leadership a little bit. How would you define leadership, and what are the great leadership qualities?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many different ways to be a great leader. I think for me, and what I try to do, and what I think makes a great leader is somebody that is a good source of information. And that's going to obviously come more as you get more experience. But someone who's a good source of information, can give good advice, and can also give you good constructive criticism when you do something wrong. Be honest, but you don't need to really tear the person apart. It's all about how you say it. I mean, if someone makes a mistake or someone does something wrong, you could say it one way where the person's going to leave the conversation hating you and thinking that you really put them down a lot, or they can leave the conversation loving you because they're thankful for the great information you could have given them. So it's someone that's also not afraid to give constructive criticism and to honestly, and to praise someone when, honest praise, not just to build them up, but when they really deserve it, which happens quite a bit as well. But for me, I try to be as approachable as possible. I think when you're first starting out in this profession, or even when you're at the lower ranks, you see a partner, you see a director, and you get a little bit intimidated, like, oh, I might not want to ask him for advice or ask questions or talk to him or whatever, because they're a partner. But I try to be as approachable as anyone. Just I'm a person just like everybody else, and I'm not perfect either. But I try to be approachable. I want people to come to me with questions, and I try to teach through various, I conduct CPE courses sometimes as well, and I try to impart my knowledge in discussions with people, and just be someone that they can go to or talk to if they have a question or they have an issue or they're not even sure about something. I think approachability and someone that can give good, honest feedback and advice are great leadership qualities.
Have you had any role models, any mentors who help you shape your career journey over the years?
Yeah, it's funny. That's a question that usually someone points to one person. I just feel like there have been so many people that have influenced me throughout my career. And, to be honest, we don't realize it, but we are where we are if we feel like we're in a good place because other people have helped us get us there, I always think back to my very first job. I really didn't have a lot of experience. I had an accounting degree, and the woman that hired me at the country club, took a chance on me, and she taught me, how to conduct myself and how to do good work. And even I was just doing accounts payable and payroll at the time, but I'm always thankful for her to give me my first job, getting me my first step in the door, because that's the key, right? That's what gets you going. And I've had a lot of people that I've respected over the years, whether they, the way they deal with clients and they're transparent and they treat the client well, how they treat other employees, and people that are very technically savvy. I've always had a lot of respect for, and I've been in contact with a lot of people that have just, not everybody doesn't have all the answers, but some people, have a lot of answers, or at least they could tell you, here's where I'd go to find the answer. And I've always been very respectful of people like that. So again, it's not one person. It's not even one thing. It's just been a culmination of many things. And, I respect people that go about their job, take it seriously, and are diligent and work hard when they have to, and do the best they can, and treat other people with respect.
Key career lesson. If there is one key career lesson that you learned the hard way, what would it be that you can share with us?
Yeah, I can give an example of this. I was probably doing tax returns for 5 years, and people may think, oh, that's a long time. But again, this field, I think one of the great things about it is if you like a challenge, there's always something new to learn, and very seldom you're doing the exact same thing twice. And so I remember, I think I was a senior at the time. And when you're a senior and you do a tax return, you're usually preparing a tax return. You may review some easier returns, but you're usually preparing returns. And you give it to a manager, and the manager looks at it. If they have any issues, they'll give it to you, and for you to make any changes. And then the manager will make sure you made the changes, and then they'll give it to the partner. I mean, that's standard. It's not exact science that way all the time, but it's something along those lines. So I remember there was one time where I was given a tax return by a partner, and there wasn't a manager that was going to look at it. It was actually a partner that was going to look at it. And I remember thinking, oh no, like, I'm going to get this thing back. It's going to have a million changes. And, it's just, I'm nervous. And I gave it to him. He's like, all right, I should have it in the next week or two. And like a minute, I feel like a minute didn't go by where I wasn't thinking about, what's he going to give back to me, So I remember he called me into his office and he said, I looked at the return you prepared. You have a couple minutes. I said, of course. And he said, I think even back then it was like he wrote the notes on paper. Or I don't remember if it was on a Word and he printed it out, but that's not important. But he gave me a list of items. He's like, I have more questions than changes. And I'm like, okay. So he's like, take a look at the questions and bring it back to me. And he's asking questions, and I'm thinking, like, this guy's a partner. He's been doing it a lot longer than me. I'm a senior. Like, why is he asking these questions? Like, everybody knows that, you do it this way because that's the way you do it, right? But what he was getting at was he was saying, I'm asking these questions because it's stuff that, you may see on a lot of different returns, but you really need to understand why you're doing it. The reason behind it, the concept. And not just, a perfect example is, some people, a lot of people in the accounting world will know what I'm talking about. But, if you're on the accrual method and on the books, they accrue an expense for vacation. If it's paid within 2.5 months, you can deduct it. And he's asking me, why did I do that? And I thought that was, obvious. We do that all the time. But he wanted me to go into the code and or the regs and wherever it talks about that. And he really wanted me to just get it. His whole point was, listen, we may not have the time to do this on every return, but when you have downtime, research and read and get a good understanding of what you're doing, because, you know how too much theory and no practice is not good. Too much practice and no theory is not good either. So he kind of just taught me just to understand the laws. And I thought it was a big, big thing for me. And it made me interested. And I just, as crazy as it sounds, I like reading about tax law. There's some interesting stuff in there, especially how they come up with some of the laws. It's very interesting.
Well, we have a little tradition in the American business podcast. I have a question for you coming from our previous guest. I'll ask you that question. And after that, I'll ask you to leave me a question for our coming guest.
Excellent.
And I'll ask the question in the coming episode. And the question for you coming from our previous guest is, what is the role of relationships in building a business?
Yeah, I think relationships, it's client. The two big relationships to me are client relationships and employee relationships. And I think they're both very, very important. We look to clients, and obviously they're very, very important to our business, and we want to keep them happy. But in order to keep our clients happy, we also need to make sure our employees are happy. And that's why, like I said, I try to, be a good listener, treat everybody with respect, and be a good source of information. But at the same time, clients, that they're they do pay the bills, and you gotta keep them happy, and you gotta look for ways that you can serve them. And it's funny, like, again, I'm always trying to come up with ways, or I have experts in other areas, like maybe in the state and local tax area, international tax area, credits and incentives that I may have to go to understand client concerns. But it's not just saving and deferring taxes for clients, but it's also, being responsive. And it's even just, on a personal level, like, how's things going? If I know a client for a long time, they kind of know what's going on in my life. They know things that are going on with my kids and my wife. I mean, they don't know every detail, but, that they know that my kids are going to be going to college soon. And so I just think you have to keep your employees happy, and you have to keep your clients happy, and also building outside relationships. I mean, meeting contacts. I think, especially as you move higher up in the ranks, it's important to have contacts that can, maybe help your business, or you could show them how you can help their business. So I would say it's really in those three key areas: employees, clients, and external people that you can build relationships with and help out, or have them help you in any way they can.
And what is your question for the next guest?
For the next guest. Okay.
Yes.
If there's one, the biggest challenge that you're having, just one, we all have, all companies all have challenges, all industries have challenges, but what's the biggest challenge that your company is facing, and how are you starting to try to deal with it?
Okay, we'll make sure to ask that question in episode 181. Looking
Appreciate
forward to it. So, and also, if you like the answer, you need to watch the next episode. Make sure.
I will. I'll make sure. I'll see what kind of face they make to that question.
All right,
On the
sounds good.
spot there too much. Oh, God.
Okay, well, in this part of the episode, is there any question that you would like to ask me?
Yeah, Kevin, this is the best part. I mean, you know,
You've been waiting for this part.
I've been waiting for the minute you told me about the podcast. Like,
Now you can ask me a question.
Yeah, no. In all seriousness, though, you know, I feel like you're very successful, and in the software industry. This podcast is going great. Now you're getting people together through ABCCI.
Yes.
What
yes.
would you say? If you had to pick one thing or one general reason for your success, what do you think's contributed most to your success?
I will say, actually, there is no one factor, right? Typically, there is more than one.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Rightly so. It just makes a lot of sense. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One factor will be like in terms of me, making my way in business will be being a good observant. I observe, I watch, I analyze. In general, I believe the power of observation, especially for business, marketing. Of course, there are surveys and focus group studies and other research and so on. However, when we see things with our own eyes, talking to others, learning from them, observing, seeing, that brings us a lot of opportunities. There will be one factor, if I need to just mention just one factor, since you ask. So then there will be it, that just the power of observation, and I really practice it on daily basis. That's how I spot the gap in the market for the American Business Podcast. That's how I found the gap found the gap and starting, I must say, it's in early stages. We are starting America's Virtual Chamber of Commerce and Industry. That's also the result of observation and feedback we get from our followers and supporters. So yeah, that will be my answer for it.
No, very good. I know I'm not interviewing you, but I'm just curious.
Yes,
I
okay.
mean, if you could observe people, and I've done this through the years. I observe people and I see things that I really like, and I try to emulate that sometimes. And then you may see some things that not too often, but that you don't like, and you try to avoid. So when you say
Yes.
observation, I don't know if you're getting into that as well, because
Yes.
I always try to I always try to think of all the people that I deal with in business and in life, and I always think, like, what's one thing that I really respect about that person?
Mm.
You try to emulate that, and I think it's a good way to learn. And I don't care how long you've been doing anything, how long you've been alive, you can always learn something from someone.
Absolutely, that's a great point.
So it's very interesting. So
It really is. And when you really pay attention, just to your point, absolutely. I mean, you pick up different things, you learn different things. You just need to keep an open mind. And that's all it takes. Once you have it, then it'll keep coming at you. New concepts, new knowledge, so that we can improve as professionals continuously.
And I agree with you saying with the open mind, because we get advice all the time, right? Or you hear, like I said before, you hear and you see things, and and even no matter if you ever you've had times, I'm sure, in your career, in your life, where someone might be tough on you or whatever, and I think you got to look at the message and not the medium sometimes, especially early in your career. And I just think that you have to keep an open mind, that no matter who it's coming from, or even if someone's like at a lower level than you, and you see them doing something a certain way, doesn't mean you can't learn from them either. I mean, people, I'm in a totally different generation than someone that's before me, and this generation does things differently, and it doesn't mean that it's better. It doesn't mean that it's worse necessarily. It's just different, and it may be more effective in certain situations. And I think, I just think observing people and dealing with people, and really just like understanding their perspective a lot of times, even though it's not something you may agree with, I don't think you can just shut it down all the time right away. And sometimes you got to think about it. And if you think it's good for your life, then you may want to try to implement it in some way. And if not, then you move on.
Absolutely. Well, so my next question will be your career advice for the next generation professionals. Next generation is coming in, they are graduating, they're entering into the job market. What is your career advice for them to get ready for the job market?
Yeah, prayer. No, in all seriousness, no, I think, obviously, I think it goes without saying, find something that you're passionate about. And because usually if you're passionate about something, you're going to be good at it and you're going to enjoy it. And, think of the ways that not just doing a job, but how are you serving people? How are you helping people? How can you make the position better? How can you, it's all about, at the end of the day, when you work for a company, it's really about serving whoever your clientele is, right? If you look at it from that standpoint, like I helped somebody out today, I think you're going to feel a lot better about it. And it's not going to seem so much like, just a job that I want to get through. And, no matter what it is, no matter how crazy it may, even if the profession doesn't seem like it's too lucrative, I think if you're happy with what you do and you're very, very good at it, you could be very successful and make good money. And money's not everything, but it's going to be something that you're going to be happy doing. I mean, I don't want to go down the road of saying like, you wake up and you're like, so excited to go to work every day. I mean, obviously that does happen sometimes, but something you're passionate about and something that you really want to, you're good at it and you want to help serve other people.
For those who like to continue this conversation, what is the best way that they can get in touch with you and learn about your organization?
Okay, yeah. If they want to get in touch with me personally, and again, I'm on the tax side, so it doesn't mean that I don't know answers to other types of questions, and it doesn't mean that if I don't, that I could definitely find someone within this organization that can help. So if you want to come to me as a first resort, or if you want to even come to me with any tax questions, my email is T, which is my first initial. My last name is REITER at mgocpa.com. And the website is mgocpa.com. And again, we have many different professionals that can help you with many of your different business needs. And Kevin, I do appreciate you having me on. I'm very appreciative for letting me speak about myself for a little bit and
Of
my
course.
organization. Thank you.
Of course. I appreciate you. Thank you very much for being with us in your busy schedule. And thank you for sharing your professional insights and professional wisdom with us in the American Business Podcast.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much. And I wish you a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. And to our listeners and to our viewers, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. As always, I always learn something new in the American Business Podcast. In each episode, we offer you educational content, informative content, and this episode was one of them. And what do you think? What is your take on AI and also for next generation, how they should prepare themselves for the job market? Please share your thoughts in the comment box, in the chat box. Join the conversation. We love to hear from you. We love to learn from you and get this conversation going. We'll be right back after a short break. Thank you very much. Would you like to listen to music during your work time? We are here to help. We created ABP Office Music Pod, powered by the American Business Podcast. ABP Office Music Pod is for you, the working professional. You can enjoy jazz, lo-fi, smooth jazz, classic music, and more during your work time. We keep the music positive and energetic. You can go to the YouTube channel of the American Business Podcast, or you can scan this QR code and start listening right away. There is more coming in the American Business Podcast, and this is one of them. Enjoy ABP Office Music Pod during your work time, and thank you very much for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Reddit. Do you know the biggest challenge nowadays for American small businesses? There is visibility. That's why we partner with Reddit for Business. Reddit has more than 400 million weekly visitors. Furthermore, Reddit is reliable. Reddit is the number one source for real reviews on products, services, and brands. There is a promotion going on. When you spend $500, you'll get $500 in ad credit from Reddit. True story. I am a Reddit user. Anytime I need feedback or review for a product or service, I go to Reddit. I get the real answers, real feedback from real people, from Reddit communities. Scan this QR code and sign up for Reddit advertising for your business. Get the visibility for your company, your products, and services. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Gemini Trust. Gemini makes crypto simple. Find, trade, and buy over 70 different coins, including Bitcoin and Solana, on the best cryptocurrency platform. Gemini Trust. Start trading crypto here. I have the QR code on the screen. You can scan the QR code and start signing up today. Because they have a great customer service, you can reach out to them and get assistance 24/7. Scan the QR code and start trading crypto on Gemini. Thank you for your support. Support for the show comes from Yelp. You know, I've been talking to more than 100 business owners in the American Business Podcast. Do you know the biggest problem for small businesses nowadays? It is visibility. That is why you should sign up and list your business on Yelp for Business. I have the QR code on the screen, and when you scan the QR code, the form will show up on your screen and you can sign up on the registration form. It comes with free trial with no obligation. Make it easy for your customers to find you. Do you know there are more than 70 million customers visiting Yelp website looking for services from businesses just like yours? Restaurants, home services, professional services, and many other businesses are being searched on Yelp on daily basis. That's a great opportunity. If you list your business on Yelp, you'll be findable, searchable, and you'll be visible. When you are visible, when your customers are able to find you, you're in business. You can get opportunities, you can get leads, you can build a healthy and profitable pipeline. Consider Yelp for Business. Scan the QR code, sign up, and start your free trial. It comes with free trial. Very comfortable, no obligation. List your business and start getting the results and enjoy the benefits of Yelp Business. Thank you for your support. Would you like to start your business podcast? We are here to help. My name is Kevin Devecioglu. I am the founder and host of the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. When we started the American Business Podcast on February 28, 2025, we had only one mission in mind: to promote, support, and uplift American businesses, nonprofits, manufacturers, and the American business community. Within our first 6 months, we managed to pass 100,000 YouTube subscribers, and we received YouTube Silver Award. This is an important award. It shows our dedication to American business and to the American Business Podcast viewers, subscribers, and American Business Podcast community. Now you can have your own branded company podcast within the American Business Podcast network. You can promote your company, your products, your services, and you'll have instant visibility in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers, subscribers, and followers. You can promote your company, your products and services. You can educate and inspire businesses and individuals. More importantly, you can tell your story, your brand story. How did you get started? What makes you different? And how you are helping your customers and communities. As you know, in the American Business Podcast, I've been talking to more than 100 American businesses. Each business has a story that is inspiring and motivational. I know your business also has a great story which is motivational and inspiring. It is time for you to have your business podcast within the American Business Podcast Network. We help you start your business podcast and we help you grow your business. This is a great opportunity for you to be visible in the marketplace in front of thousands of the American Business Podcast viewers and subscribers. And this is a great opportunity for us to fulfill our mission to promote, support, and uplift American businesses. Please send us an email and let's get the conversation started. It is PaaS@americanpodcast.tv. Business podcasting as a service. Powered by the American Business Podcast, the voice of American business. The American Business Podcast is America's fastest growing educational business podcast network in this age of AI. My name is Kevin Devecioglu. I'm the founder and host of the American Business Podcast, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you, working with you, and help you grow your business with your new business podcast. Thank you very much. Support for the American Business Podcast comes from Otter AI. Otter is the AI note taker that builds your knowledge and powers your workflow with transcription, automated summaries, AI chat, and more. Get your AI-powered assistant for meeting notes, tasks, and more. Scan the QR code on the screen and sign up today. Otter AI is the latest note taker that you can utilize, and you can set your meetings, you can take your notes, and you can also set up your follow-up actions automatically with the help of the Otter AI. Scan the QR code and sign up today. Thank you for your support. Thank you for being with me in the American Business Podcast. If you'd like to be a guest in the American Business Podcast, please send us an email, guestbooking@americanpodcast.tv. If you'd like to sponsor ABP, if you'd like to advertise in our podcast episodes, please send us an email, growyourbusiness@americanpodcast.tv. You can advertise your company, your products, your services, and your brands in the American Business Podcast. Please send us an email, growyourbusiness@americanpodcast.tv. You can also visit our website, americanpodcast.tv, to learn more about the American Business Podcast, as well as our coming streaming schedule. Now you can have your branded company podcast within the American Business Podcast network. We call it Business Podcasting as a Service, PaaS. If you're interested in starting your business podcast in the American Business Podcast network, please send us an email, paas@americanpodcast.tv. As part of our international expansion, we started international podcast editions. When you scan this QR code, it'll take you to our YouTube page. And please go to the podcast section in our YouTube page and you'll see our international podcast editions. They are ABP Espanol, ABP German, ABP French, ABP Hindi, ABP Portuguese, and ABP Turk that you can listen to American Business Podcast in 6 different foreign languages. Okay, well, we are in the process of increasing our presence in social media. If you're on LinkedIn, please scan this QR code and subscribe, follow us on LinkedIn. If you're on TikTok, please scan this QR code. It'll take you to our TikTok page. Please subscribe. Please follow us. If you are on Instagram, please scan this QR code. It'll take you to our Instagram page and please subscribe. If you are on Facebook, we'll also appreciate your help and support. Please scan this QR code. It'll take you to our Facebook page and please follow us. And finally, we are on IMDb next to other reputable media productions. Please scan this QR code, go to our IMDb page, and please rate us on IMDb. We'll truly appreciate your help and support. I'd like to thank you for your help. Thank you for your support. I'm looking forward to seeing you in coming The American Business Podcast episodes. The American Business Podcast is the voice of American business. The American Business Podcast, America's fastest growing educational business podcast network in this age of AI. Thank you very much for your help and looking forward to seeing you. Thank you.